Welcome to Last Two Pages, a podcast where two best friends who love to read just can't keep it to themselves. I'm Teresa.
And I'm Megan, and on this episode, we will be talking about our least favorite tropes.
Ask and you shall receive, as in one person asked us. It's so
I feel like more people have asked us to talk about this.
Well, this was one of the videos that we scrapped when we first were starting everything, so it just makes sense for us to revive it.
Indeed. We haven't lost all the footage, but I refuse to go back and look at what we talked about. So these are all new tropes that I feel like some of these we've touched on in a previous episode that was never released, but
oh, I'm sure
we have more to share.
Always more to share, because what are we if not yappers?
The yap gals. I don't know what else to say. How have you been?
I've been really busy, actually. And my job is at times physically demanding, so
You're a hiker girl.
I am a hiker girl. You would be surprised at how tiring Nordic walking is.
I don't think I'd be surprised by that. I recognize Nordic walking is probably exhausting.
It's like classic skiing, but without the skis and just the poles.
Oh, yeah. So it's like a full body workout.
Yeah, it uses 80% of your body and it burns up to 40% more calories. And it increases your oxidation or
Where can I get myself a set of ski poles?
Oxygen intake up to 25%. So overall, it's way better for you. So
That's
Nordic
exciting.
walk, and it took me by surprise with how tired I was after only an hour. Granted,
that honestly sounds great.
Had played disc golf all day before that. But la-di-da-di-da. Wah-wah. How was your lifetime?
My week has also been the week from hell. There's so much happening at my corporate job, and I have just finished Crescent City maybe an hour or two before this.
I made her finish it, honestly, before we started filming anything, because I just had to talk to her about the ending, and we are not going to talk about that right now. Maybe we'll talk about it later, but
I've been so busy I haven't been able to finish it. So it's been just, I wake up, sit at my desk,
wake up in the morning
and go to the gym
like
sometimes, and then I go to bed immediately after and take melatonin. In bed, melatonin in my mouth by 8 p.m. because my brain is so
it was either going out or staying in.
I was so exhausted. So that's how my life is. Cheers to us being tired girlies, but still bringing you the best of what we have.
Even last night, I spent the night at Megan's, and I went to bed at 12:30, and my body woke me up at 5:30, and refused to go back to bed. So
that was crazy.
It's now noon, and I feel.
Teresa also isn't a caffeine drinker. We just were talking about this because I am drinking a Celsius and I've had a cup of coffee and I'm feeling just fine with nothing in my stomach. And Teresa has had one shot of espresso. And
here's the thing.
She's like, I feel the folds in my brain. And I'm like,
I hadn't eaten yet this morning, and then I downed that, and then I tried to do my eyeliner. Oh my gosh. I was like, I could feel my heartbeat.
I have practiced being an emo girly when I was 14. So honestly, you always know how to do eyeliner once you have that era. Did you ever hear that thing where
Honey, I got this eyeliner done in one try? I did it slower.
I'm not saying that you didn't. I'm just saying that
I learned how to do eyeliner all on my lonesome. Yeah, my sister never did it. My mom never did it. And
I also, yep. Mine was on like Pinterest.
Okay, yeah, but when did you first curl your hair?
Okay. We do not need to bring that up. It was like last year. I'm a pro now. I'm just afraid of heat. I was afraid of the curling wand burning me. And I don't know how to use the normal curling irons with like the
clasp.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that kind of scared me. I'd always ever straightened my hair because it always had like a closure around it. You know what I'm saying? Like a straightener has like a plastic backing.
Oh.
So your hand, like even if you touched it, you're not directly touching the hot metal piece. Anyway, least favorite tropes. So Teresa and I both came to the table with some of what we just hate about books. Because books are great, but sometimes they're not.
It's more the things that give us an ick or just kind of lose the book in our brains, or we're reading it and we fall out of it and we're like, oh, these are
I'm reading words on a page.
Words on a page.
Yep.
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, oh, taken out. All right.
I have a physical recoil. You heard it a few times this morning.
I
literally was like, what?
No, me too.
Why?
I took a picture of a page on a book the other day and my dad just went, did you just take a picture of a page? And I was like, yeah. Why is that so weird?
It's not weird at all.
This is like absurd. And I just needed to document it.
That's not weird at all.
No, I know. And I'm like,
does your dad know how to read? Is that why he thought it was weird?
He's probably who I got my speed reading from.
Oh.
He can down books. But I don't think he can. I'm pretty sure I talked to him about this, and he doesn't see in his brain as pictures.
What does he see?
I think it's just like, you know, how some people see like concepts and how they think. They don't visualize things.
Okay. I don't like
What do you see?
It's like a full movie.
Okay.
Behind these eyes. Like,
Me too.
Like, okay. Not like the whole time, but like when scenery changes, like my brain changes that scenery.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see the people's faces.
Some people I can't usually like really see faces, but yeah, it's a movie in my brain.
Body
Some
movements are
people
happening,
literally, it's just them reading it and it's the information.
So, do you want to start with tropes? How do you feel?
After you, Miss Ma'am.
Oh, okay, great. I think the one that we both primarily agree on are the miscommunication trope.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
I used to be a hater of the miscommunication trope. But as I've read more modern romances, I'm kind of living for the drama it causes and the tension that builds. But when it comes to like, here's the thing. There's a difference between miscommunication and like withholding information. And I think the withholding can be hot and sexy, but miscommunication can be just so annoying.
I think miscommunication can add a lot to a story, right? But so many of the times it's just like the author's only way of making drama.
Okay, that's true.
In a space where there is none. So like for me, when I read it, I'm like, ugh. Like literally the only thing you have to do is talk to each other.
Yeah.
If it was different where it's like they're separated or like there are other people involved in this. But if it's just two people that refuse to talk to each other because they're both
too stubborn
assholes, no, like
that gets so old.
Oh my god. And then it happens multiple times in the book because that's like their defining trait is that these two can't ever communicate with each other. And it's like, okay, then maybe you shouldn't pursue a relationship, romantic or otherwise.
But whenever I'm around him, my knees tremble and a warmth grows.
A warmth
if
grows.
The only connection two characters have is lust,
bad.
I think that kind of goes into. Do you have anything else to say with that one?
No, go ahead.
With insta-love,
girl,
I will never be an insta-love person. I need I need there to be a build-up. I need there to be a background. I need them to have had history, and I need that history either to develop or to have come with before the book. And then there needs to be the tension and rising, and it can't just be, oh my gosh, he's so hot. Like, no. Ew. Like,
I'm obsessed with insta lust. Like, first time they meet each other, it's like, this person is so hot and I like am.
But I feel like that's what they write off as insta love. Because then they make that into like something to base a relationship off of.
Yeah, see, that's not right.
And
but
then
like,
it's just.
There are characters that have like immediately been like, wow, this person is like the hottest person I've ever seen without knowing them.
Yeah,
right?
that's
where it's
fine.
like that. And then it's like...
But if it's like you see each other across the room or like in a bar or something, and then you just like go hook up in the alley and then like go on your ways, and then that's your background, and then he's like mysteriously your boss. Like,
what books you reading?
What was that one? I don't even remember what that one was called. It was some mafia.
Oh God.
I think it was in the Promises and Pomegranates.
Probably is very mafia-esque though.
Savard Miller. But it's just like,
that's rough.
give me something more, and don't make her hair like ruby red. Ew.
Speaking of that, actually, the next one that I have is the plain unwanted girl that every man wants to. Why? Like, it annoys me when an author continuously, the only thing they have to say about the main character is that she's
so tiny,
so unwanted and unlovable and so ugly. No real. Makeup, plain face, brown hair. Not that brown hair isn't good, but regularly though, that person either has dirty, limp blonde hair that looks like straw, or it's
the straw description is
so
real.
specific. It's every time. Okay, and that annoys me.
It's always straw.
Why? Anyway, then it's like the brown, again, limp brown hair that never had any color to it. It was a dull brown hair. Whatever. Okay, but then all of these men
are like, she's different.
She's perfect. I must protect her, and I
need her.
Like, no way you're looking around at all of these beautiful females and you're like, yes, I want the dirty one that looks like she climbed out of a sewer.
That'd be me.
No, it's not.
That'd be me wanting her.
Oh, okay.
No. You're too clean for me.
Me? That's
Actually,
I'm going to take
true.
that as a compliment.
Megan in college, the one thing she did that I could never believe that she would do.
What are you about to reveal right now?
When she would wash her face, to dry her face, she would use the rag she used to that people used to dry their hands after the bathroom. She used that to dry her face, and then she would be like, oh, my skin is so bad. And I'm like, I wonder why. The bacteria cesspool that you're using to dry your face every night.
Honestly, I can accept that.
Your fear in your eye before I said that.
I was so afraid of what you were about to say.
This isn't that bad.
It's not. No.
It's just something when I first learned that I was like,
Teresa, speaking of our first year in college, spilt hot cocoa mix on our rug. I'll never forget this. It was on our rug for like 4 months, and I just waited to see if you would clean it up. It was like a little powder pile, like just in the middle of our black rug, and for 4 months.
Where? What?
It was in our dorm.
In our room or in
the room between our beds.
Why did I have hot cocoa powder?
Girl, you had so much random shit in that dorm. Like, everywhere. Like, when you looked at our sides of the room, it was like B brain and A brain, and you can guess which one was which. But I'll never forget, I saw it pour out of your backpack and onto the floor, and I just waited to see if you would clean it up.
Oh, and I didn't even know that was there.
I guess not. I thought you saw it the whole time, but I was just like, I wonder if she's ever going to clean up that hot cocoa mix.
I have no memory of that. Zero.
Exactly.
Where was it?
In the middle of the rug, in between our beds. I don't know how you never saw it, but we were kind of gross in college. So, you know what? Honestly.
No, it was freshman year. We were, what's it called? When you just like.
Rats?
Not sympathizer. Yeah, we were rats. We were enablers.
We absolutely were enablers.
What's my gross behavior now?
You burp a lot. Which is like inherently gross.
Would you do that in a restaurant? Someone asked me that once after I burped, and I said,
are you serious?
Okay, we were all hanging out playing games, and I was drinking something that like upsets my stomach acid. And I burped, and he literally looked at me and went, would you do that in a restaurant? The same person also said that. I actually don't know if I can talk about that. But basically, it led everyone in the room looking at him and going, how is a woman ever happy with you? Like, genuinely, the things he said were insane. And the answer was the women were not happy. But then I told him, yes, I would and have.
You have, yeah.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
You
know what? I think what it is that you were raised to be a boy.
Well, it's that.
We've talked about this before.
And my uncles would always try to like shame me for, I was like 11 and I like would like burp and they'd be like, ew, girls aren't supposed to burp or poop or pee or anything. And I was like, literally fuck you. Literally no. And so then from that, I just started burping really loud around them because I'm like, well, that one uncle is now divorced out of the family. So
karma, I guess.
But
I think that's like why we see,
and
not to get into this, but like cleanliness differently, because I was raised to be my mother's daughter, and also I only had so many resources.
Raised to be my father's son.
So yeah,
my mom did call me her daughter that acted like a boy or whatever. She was like, she'd be like, I
called you that episode
I know, and
1.
my mom agreed because she was like, yeah, you'd be my girl in all pink jumping off the windows and climbing trees. And I was like,
jumping out the windows.
ADHD. The next one I have is the countdown to nothing.
Okay.
The whole point of the book is to build and build and build this tension of like a war's brewing or like something or the other, and then it's just like, nope, peace, and then nothing. Or, oh yes, a battle, but it lasts like 5 pages, then it's done. It's like,
it's really frustrating.
Why are we gonna have back and forth for 400 pages about this, or nay, 800 pages, for then it to just be, I guess I don't know if that's arguably a trope, but it is something that happens in books that
it is really annoying. I don't understand. Like, I understand that like authors enjoy writing tension to kind of like drag the readers along, but like you want that to be satisfying. You want the like climax of the story to be like, oh my God, and all of the things and whatever. When
no one dies and there's like 20 characters to pull from, and you're telling me this battle is like the hardest war in the entire ever, and no one's gonna die except for one person and they get brought back. Or
I have several examples of that.
I know.
Yeah.
But that's spoilers in books, so I won't be discussing them. If you know, you do know. Or if it's that this whole battle that's supposed to be difficult happens, and with no one dying, it obviously wasn't that difficult.
Yeah. It like, don't set it up to be impossible. Like, they are going to defeat this impossible task just for them to then defeat it within 5 pages. That's just like,
with no sacrifice.
Ugh. Or implied sacrifice, even if they do sacrifice and then nothing actually comes of, like, I feel like if you are willing to make that sacrifice, it should be seen through. That makes a great book. You're satisfied with, like, there's balance.
If you want a good book with a great everything, Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. You do need to read the entire series beforehand, but
there's that. Another trope that I had is when tragic backstories aren't brought up again, where like a whole character is based around this tragic backstory and it's brought up once for sympathy points.
Or it's like they were assaulted, and so then that affects like how they interact with people, but like it's just a personality trait that she was assaulted, and that she doesn't trust men, but that's it. It's not like, it's just to be used as to give this person depth and there's nothing else to her. And it's like, is that really what we're trying to say here?
It doesn't ever make me feel good reading about that character, and it honestly just like ruins what that character could be. I would rather have them be a blank slate and a name than for the only thing about them to be their trauma. Like, that's just reinforcing.
And then it's
the
all
stereotype.
About the man protecting her and like his whole role is that he will never let anything happen to her again, and she is only what has happened to her.
Gross.
Vomit.
Anyway.
Everywhere.
Hate that.
Hate it. My next one is time travel.
Oh, really? What don't you like about time travel?
When it is done and when it's done poorly.
Okay. Valid.
And it doesn't add up. When it doesn't add up.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be done really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get, like, I love Outlander. Because the times are different enough. But then the always constant worry about how will affect the timeline gets so old.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
everyone's always worried about every decision they're ever making. It's like, yeah, maybe it would have been better if you stayed home.
yeah. And I don't love multiverse madness.
I don't necessarily like multiverse. I do love different universes. Maybe that's the sci-fi part of me, but the idea that, like, this isn't the one space where they can exist within one series.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that a bunch of stuff is happening, but it's like within this one series, this isn't the only place where those people can be or live or whatever. Like, that excites me because it's like, oh my God, I see the creativity. I see, like, where this is going, but I think multiverses are really difficult to do well.
Yeah. I agree.
That's all I'll say about that. Another thing I really don't like is when the protagonists refuse to respect their friends' ability to make their own decisions to try and protect them.
Or even not just their friends, their lover.
Yeah.
And
no, it's I hate when that's like, okay, specifically when an author has a woman be a strong female and all she does is boss people around, and that's like her being strong and protecting other people, or like not tell anyone what they're going to do and just self-sacrifice the whole time and not let anyone do anything for them because it's their burden to bear. Like, what's the point of having friends at all in the series if you're not going to share that burden with other people? And that's fine if you don't want to. It just, like,
who are you talking about right now?
I have several books that
who are you
have
talking
this.
about?
We're not going to use specifics within this, but there are several characters that I've read where the woman, for her to be the strong female, she just has to take on everything. And that is the only defining feature of her being strong, and for people to respect her.
And for strong men, it's them sharing the burden.
Annoying.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Yeah. My next one is this isn't a trope, but it basically is, but medical impracticalities.
I 100% follow.
When the author just, like, for one, uses magic just to, like, heal everything. I'm like, okay, I get it, but, like, it's just, like, an excuse to move forward.
Suddenly they have magic powers.
Or if they're human and have no powers, all of a sudden they can run 15 miles after they just got their thigh sliced to the bone and they just stitched up the muscle the night before and had rough intercourse and busted open the stitches but then fixed it, and then that person left, so they went running after them. No shot you can run. None at all.
No shot.
Pulled out immediately.
Also, like, when things happen, like limbs are cut off or like guts are spilling out, I recognize that normally in fantasy books, like, fae have healing, right?
Yeah.
Either the author is not describing what's happening accurately enough, but, like,
It happens way too quickly.
you would pass out. You would be dead. Like, what? I get, like, they can heal and, like, whatever. That's totally fine. But, like, are the organs just gonna, like, back up? Like, how does this healing happen? I would just imagine, like, you know what I'm saying?
And then all this can happen, but they can't have a C-section? Like, come on. Are you kidding me?
Stupid.
You can be fey and magical and you can't have a C-section. And someone else who was completely shredded and was able to survive and like guts hanging out and completely torn open. But because she's a woman,
C-sections don't exist.
She can't survive.
Someone needs to give up all of their powers for them to have C-sections.
Oh, did I talk about that?
No.
It's because it's my top thing, and so it's bolded.
Oh, okay. You can bring it up.
Going into my next trope, that when a strong female main character either gains power or comes with this power, and then either A, has to give it up to save everyone, or loses it at all. Why can that never happens with the men? It never does.
Never.
Like, you never see that happening, but it's always the women that have to sacrifice that. I'm like, literally for what?
Have we not sacrificed enough?
Let her just like have it. Like, what? Like, why does she have? And it's always like, it will destroy her if she keeps it. Then why give her that much?
Okay. Also, that's part of the sacrifice thing, where it's like she has to sacrifice everything to make sure things work, and it's like, we'll bring her back. She'll live, but she won't have any of her powers. Just kill her at that point. Let her be a legend.
Yeah, or if they die and then like they bring them back, but they bring them back as a fraction of
that's what I'm saying.
I know. 100%. That's why I'm like, I immediately thought of one character, and I just
Grr.
It just
let women have what they want.
I name one male character that had to give up his power. Yeah, you hear those crickets? Me too.
I think that was solid.
These tropes won't, if they're in a book, they won't ruin a book for me unless they're like really prevalent. But if I see it, it will give me an ick and like take me out for a bit. And then afterwards, I'll talk about it for unending amounts of time. What are we reading right now?
What are you reading?
I just finished The Endless War by Brianna Jensen? Danielle Jensen. Her first books of her like little series are so good. Mm-hmm. Like Bridge Kingdom, such a good book. Like overall, start to finish, a wild ride. Inadequate Air, the part 2 of that series in a different couple, so good, so well constructed. And then the second books kind of fall apart.
I didn't read after Inadequate Air, honestly.
It's just kind of unmemorable.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's like 500 pages, and the whole time I was like, it had like an insane build up to like nothing.
Like we just talked about.
It was like a fine ending. But like I loved Inadequate Air and Bridge Kingdom. So that's why it's like it had so much to compare to. Potential. Like it's a fine book, but like when you're coming off of those books, it's such a down. So it's disappointing, but Bridge Kingdom, so good by Danielle Jensen.
Solid.
And Inadequate Air, they're both really good. Mm-hmm. And then the next one's just, there's always these allusions to these structures made by some mysterious past advanced society or god, and I'm like, that's such a cop-out. Like, give me a backstory to that. Mm-hmm. Why does it have to stop there? Why is it just, we don't know how these are here, they've just been here and you have no idea how they got there? What is that?
I have a parallel to that I'll talk to you about after.
But I loved them. But those were the few things that I'm still on, like, right now I'm in full hater mode.
Yeah, no, that's valid.
But Bridge Kingdom, so good. Chef's kiss.
Amazing.
Loved it.
I just finished House of Flame and Shadow this morning by Sarah J. Maas. I would say, I'm not going to get into it. I know everyone is very sensitive about spoilers, but it was a solid 4 stars for me. I think there was a lot of considering how disappointing the second book was for me after the high that I was on the first book in the series, so like good. I think this honestly was a solid bringing it back up to where I expected it to be. I was very surprised by a lot of the plot points and like why they were brought there. I feel like there was a lot of new characters introduced. And I really don't know where the series is going to go after that. So excited for, you know, when the next book comes out in the next 6 years or whatever.
I think it's supposed to come out in I think it's less than 2 years.
I'm not holding my breath for next Crescent City.
I think if there wasn't so much influence from everywhere about this book, I think I would have liked it more. If it was just like one of those books that I'm like reading and then like not have heard anyone else's opinions, I'd have been like, yeah, that was a great book. And then like, but reading it and like seeing these opinions, I'm like,
I read the book very slowly.
I get your point. I get it. But I liked it as well.
I honestly think helped.
It was pretty
reading
solid.
It slowly. Like I felt like I felt like I had to rush, but I felt like I didn't have to digest it all at one time because
same. I honestly read it.
Is very heavy.
I read it way slower than I thought I would.
Yeah. So I thought I was going to read it in a week, and that is not how fast I read it.
I read it in a week, but like that's taking my time.
True. Yeah.
And
so solid reads.
It was a solid.
Yeah.
It was a solid.
You know.
Yeah.
So if you have any recs for us to read, we're on the prowl.
Don't have those tropes.
Yeah, we're on the prowl for some. So let us know.
Or if you love these tropes, which is that's fine if you
Valid.
That's great. Like I'm not trying to yuck people's yums. This is just like the icks we get when reading. And if you have an example where it's done really well,
I'm willing to hear it out.
Change my mind, honestly. Because let me know why you love it.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you on the next page.